All right, so Eliza Cava, Kit Gage, Tracy Rouleau, Barbara Brito. This is a public hearing on a special appropriation to the county government's FY19 capital budget and amendment to the FY19 to 24 capital improvements program, conservation of natural resources, stormwater management, design, build, maintain contract. Council work session is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 17th. Persons wishing to submit additional comments should do so by the close of business Tuesday, July 12th, so that reviews can be included in the material which staff will prepare for the council's consideration. And Ms. Cava, you're our first speaker, so you may proceed when you're ready. Oh, you're going to speak to item number 7 as well? I think they're sort of together.
They're sort of together.
Okay, we'll just take that as it comes.
Okay. Council President Reamer and members of the council, I'm Eliza Cava, the Director of Conservation at Audubon Naturalist Society and the Vice Chair of the Stormwater Partners Network. On behalf of ANS's over 10,000 members and supporters, I thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today on the proposed stormwater compromise. I submitted a detailed letter on behalf of the Stormwater Partners Network yesterday, signed by 16 organizations and a number of concerned private citizens, and I hereby incorporate that letter into my testimony. We supported the original May 14th council resolution that rejected the county executive's proposal and thank the council for listening to residents, overriding the executive's veto, and working to improve the proposed budget. It appears that at this point there is no supermajority to return to the 5-4 council vote, and so a compromise is needed to pass a supplemental appropriation in order to fund the outstanding line items of the Stormwater Capital Program. ANS does support passing a supplemental appropriation and neither supports nor opposes the proposed compromise at this time. In our coalition letter, we requested a number of changes to the compromise, some of which are for the budget item itself and others for the programmatic and implementation opportunities that will come alongside it. That the percentage of LID projects be raised to 10% by acre, that DEP and the council make public accountability truly meaningful and transparent, that the Water Quality Advisory Group be included in the accountability process, but that other advocates and stakeholders be included as well, and that the DBM contract go through a comprehensive review prior to any second phase appropriation to be sure that it is meeting all its environmental, governance, and financial objectives. I hope you will consider these requests. But most importantly, we need to look forward. ANS believes that the process by which this budget was produced was deeply flawed and overall represents a significant step backwards for the county and stormwater management. From demeaning hardworking government staff to making unrealistic assumptions about the next state permit requirements to the rarely used and poorly understood veto. While this debate was never about trying to undermine Mr. Leggett's last year in office, it was about decision-making and our elected officials' visions for Montgomery County's protection and restoration of the environment. All of you will be in office through the end of this year, and many of you will return to this or another elected office in the future. You saw for yourselves that stormwater management was an important enough issue to have this fight over it, and I and my organization thank you for taking up the cause. Let's not stop here, but let's use this energy positively going forward. I urge you all to talk with your constituents about the streams and green spaces that contribute to the county's quality of life. I strongly urge you to talk with them about the water quality protection charge on their property tax bills and the important civic goods that it funds. I encourage you to take pride in Montgomery's history of stormwater management and dedicate yourselves alongside ANS and our colleagues to aiming high again to be a leader in the state and the region. Stormwater pollution is not going away just because we're on track to meet the consent decree now. It is getting worse, with bigger, more intense storms, an increasing fact of life due to climate change, and more pavement and sprawl turning that rain into stormwater pollution. That stormwater has a real cost on our infrastructure and our environment. Ultimately, that's what this debate is about, the quality of life for ourselves, our children, and for the wildlife and plants that we share the county with, and how we choose to steward it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cava.